It's your boy Guy Chow, first of his name, back with another episode of the What's Packing podcast sports show. Hey, week 12, weekly wrap up edition. I'm trying something new. I'm standing up because I want the whole motherfucking Green Bay cheesehead Packer Nation, even though I got my football head on today because I'm always thinking about football on the brain 24/7. You seen the live cast. You seen the live play-by-play and reaction. You know I got the cheesehead on deck. I'm not even going to whip it out. I'm not even going to even whip it out for you motherfuckers. You already see what the shirt say. If you're not a Packers fan, these are for you, okay? And these are also for you if you're one of these so-called overzealous fans on Twitter always sucking up to the Packers, kissing Aaron Rodgers' ass, and you just think that everything that the organization does is perfect and they can do no wrong and they're infallible. You can suck on these too, man, because I don't give a fuck. This is refined toxicity, okay? Toxicity at its finest, like a 25 age scotch. And y'all know that Aaron Rodgers loves his scotch. Okay, so if you're a fan of the Packers, you should also be a fan of things that are a little toxic. Okay, just like our quarterback. All right, look, man. Week 12, Green Bay, they stomped. They ran up on the Bears like shot, 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 shot. And they cut them boys down, man. They cut them down. The motherfucking Chicago Bears. Yes, they did. And a lot of people was very excited about the win. And I'm excited because every time the Packers win, all right, enough of this. Every time the Packers win, you should be excited, okay? But we're going to break down the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, and why for this week's matchup against the Chicago Bears. For those who didn't know, that was the 201st matchup in the series. Green Bay now leads 100-96, I want to say, 195. Let's see real quick. We're going to do the stats and information. Green Bay versus, oh shit, that shit right there, bro. Versus Bears all time. Yes, 100-95, and there were 6 ties. But let's get into the very first W of the day, and that is who, as in who stood out, who was balling, who was making plays, who was in a bag yesterday. And there were actually a couple of players that was doing their thing against the Bears yesterday that I want to call out, that I want to give a little bit of, I want to give their respects. I want to pay my respects. I want to give you your flowers while you're still in the win column, okay? Because next week we don't know what's going to happen, so we're going to enjoy these flowers today. This is Victory Monday, baby. And the very first player is David Bakhtiari, the new $100 million man. He was toe-to-toe all night with another $100 million man by the name of Khalil Mack. And he put the smack down on Mr. Mack, and he had to sit down because he had an absolute goose egg on the night. I don't think Khalil Mack's name was called all night, except for when they were saying he wasn't being called all night. So David Bakhtiari, you, sir, deserve a flower. And I need some flowers actually to hand out to these niggas. But you know what I'm saying? We're going to keep rolling. The next player who stood out to me was also on the offensive line, Elton Jenkins. Now, everybody in Packers Nation, we know who Elton Jenkins' name is, okay? He was a second-round pick last year. The dude started as a rookie, has only given up 1 sack his entire career. Now, it may only be, his second year in the league, but still, that's very impressive. Over 1,000 snaps. Over 1,000 snaps. And he hasn't given up but 1 sack. I mean, that's like Hall of Fame level Joe Thomas type shit right there. So we're going to say congratulations to you, Mr. Elton Jenkins. Keep it up. He's played every single position on the offensive line to date. And I had to pose the question, like, is it possible Elton Jenkins is maybe the best offensive lineman that the Packers have drafted ever? I mean, we know David Bakhtiari is a 3-time All-Pro. We know David Bakhtiari is the highest paid left tackle in the league. We know David Bakhtiari is probably the best left tackle in the league, but is he the best offensive lineman in the league? I'm just saying. Could be. Elton Jenkins, he's making his case. He's starting to really get some recognition. And the more of these nationally televised games they have, and the more, or rather I should say, the more often he is on these games and he goes against these highly acclaimed defensive fronts, he doesn't give up sacks or pressures or hurries or hits, and the commentators keep mentioning his name. I'm happy for the kid, man. I'm happy for the dude. I hope he continues to get more and more recognition that he deserves, because when you talk about the best guards in the league, everyone's going to say Quentin Nelson, and there's some other people that get thrown in there, but Elton Jenkins in his second year, I mean, I feel like he should have been All-Pro last year. So he definitely needs to be All-Pro this year. In my opinion, he's proven he's one of the best in the league. My next who stood out is going to go to Darnell. I usually call him Average Savage, because last night he was on his shit. 2 picks. He was flying around. Yeah, he had a couple of plays where he could have, I guess he could have read the keys a little bit better, or he could have maybe, made the tackle. He was a little out of position on sometimes. But overall, Darnell Savage, okay, he had 2 interceptions, man. 2 big-time interceptions. Because last night, if you look at the game, the Packers, they gave up over 300 yards, total yards. Over 100 yards rushing, and over 200 yards passing, which to me, a 350-yard day, 320-yard day, that's not great. It's not horrible, but it's not great. But when you can get takeaways, you get turnovers, you hold teams to field goals, that's when your defense and your offense work hand in hand like that meme. You know what I'm saying? They come together to put a smack down on the competition and to clamp down on the offense and to give the team a chance to win. My last who stood out is going to go to Aaron Charles Rodgers. Yes, that's right. The one, the only 4-finger bandit, because he's always drinking them 4 fingers of tequilas or scotch or whatever the fuck it is. And let me tell you, the dude he's joined a very elite company last night. 50,000 passing yards. He threw 4 touchdowns. He was spreading the ball all around. He was efficient. He was 21 of 29. 211 yards, so not a ton of yards, but no turnovers. Okay, and he hit Devontae Adams, he hit Big Dog Marcellus Lewis, he hit Tunyon, and I want to say he also hit, who else he hit? Adams, Tunyon, Lewis, and he had one more. Oh yeah, that's right, the Lizard Man, Alan Lazard. So Rodgers was on point last night, man. I was happy to see that. Okay. Next, now there were some honorable mentions. There were some people I was thinking about putting in this category, and I think Bakhtiari, Jenkins, Savage, Rodgers. And since there's 5 W's, I'm going to pick 5 standouts if we have 5. And because I've been shitting on this guy on Twitter all fucking year long, and a lot of other fans have also been shitting on him, and the defense really played pretty well yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and throw another W out to my man, Preston. Where have you been lately, Smith? He finally showed up. He had a sack. He had the force. He had the fumble recovery that he ran in for the touchdown. And, I don't remember seeing him being on the wrong end of too many plays. Now, there's, Patton still got him in positions he probably shouldn't be in, but that's Patton's fault. It's not really Preston's fault. But last night, he was getting some pressure. Last night, he showed up on the stat sheet in a big way. So we're going to give him a W, okay, for who stood out. The next W is what happened in a nutshell. And basically, in a nutshell, the Packers, they came out in Lambeau against a divisional rival, the oldest rivalry in sports, and they played how they were supposed to play, and they bust that ass on Sunday Night Football, and they beat the Chicago Bears because the Chicago Bears is not a good team, and the Packers are supposed to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders. They put up 41 points. 7 of those points came off a turnover. So what we want to say that's what really 32, right? 32. No, that's 8. So we want to say 34, right? Because that's 6 and 7. So they scored 34 points on offense. Okay, I'm not a math whiz. Okay, math is not my strongest suit. I could do it. I had to work it out. I had to talk that thing out. But I was really, really happy to see this team have a performance like this. Again, I would like to see them do this to a legitimate contender, a team that I really feel like is a playoff team, a Super Bowl caliber team. But to get a victory like this and really put it together, they was able to stay somewhat productive in both halves of the game. They didn't just score all their points in one half. They did give up some garbage time touchdowns, one going into the quarter and another one, kind of like really two more at the end of the game. But that's what happened, man. The Packers, they came out, they did what they're supposed to do. They was efficient. They ran the ball well, and Rodgers, he was on point, man. So the next W we're gonna talk about is when was the turning point. And to be honest with you, because the game was never really in flux, the game was never really that close to begin with. It's hard to pick a singular turning point, but I'm gonna say the Preston Smith fumble recovery to me was it was kind of like it came at a point in the game where they kept the pressure on them. They didn't allow them to climb back into it. They had already given up a touchdown, I want to say, right? Let's see, man. I mean, this is why I'm supposed to be taking better notes. But sometimes the notes still need. Hey, I'm like the Green Bay Packers, okay? I got much to improve on. All right, but I guarantee you, I'm legit. But I gotta show you, I gotta prove. I got shit to improve on. I gotta work. I gotta get better. But I'm doing all right. Let's see. Let's go back to the game. I should have had this in my brain already. But so touchdown, field goal, touchdown, interception, touchdown, fumble. Wow. Okay. But yeah, actually that fumble made it 27-3. I mean, the game was really out of the way from the very beginning. I mean, the interception, Darnell Savage first interception. Oh, Kevin King? The fuck? Oh, big play, yeah, Amos, okay, big play. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say the first. Maybe I was gonna give it to Preston. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Preston. I was gonna give it to Preston. Then after looking back at the game, I was thinking about maybe giving it to Savage because it seemed like the Bears is actually moving the ball, even though they was already down 3 to 13. So yeah, honestly, I'm gonna get a ball. I'm gonna give the game-changing play, or when did the tide turn, or when did the momentum swing. I'm actually give that to Darnell Savage because it was 10-3. I mean, they was up. The Packers were up by 10. It was 13-3, and the Chicago Bears, they were actually moving the ball. They had a couple big plays, and if they score on that drive, it really cuts the lead to 3 points. And so Savage, on his play, he's able to make the interception. Green Bay gets the ball back. They extend the lead now to 17, and it's like a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get that to Darnell Savage on his very first interception, and then on the next drive, we get the fumble touchdown, and that really breaks things open. So back-to-back drives, the defense had key plays that really helped open the game up and really put it out of reach for the Bears. So we're gonna say that was that was when the turning point was. The very next W we got is who, what, when, where. And this is a one that I like to do because like any good coach, right? Even win or lose, you did some game, you usually did something good, and you usually have some areas where you need to improve upon. So where did they do, something good, and where did they need to improve? And I'm gonna say the thing this week, and I mentioned it last week, and I mentioned it and I've been saying this for a while, honestly, like just over my career as a Packers fan. Last night they ran the ball, okay, and that is where I think they looked their best, and where I feel like the game was really in their favor, and where they were able to take control of the game, because when you control the line of scrimmage, usually that's a recipe for success. They ran the ball combined 37 times last night for 182 yards. The main two running, now that's Williams, Jones. I think St. Brown had a run. Rogers scrambled once or twice. And I think someone else had a little scramble in there. But the bulk of the carries came from Williams and Jones, who each toted the rock 17 times. Jones had 90 yards. Williams had 72 yards and a touchdown, in a very hard-nosed run at that for his touchdown. He really showed why why the Packers really like him. He can catch the ball. He's great in pass protection. And he's not as flashy as Jones. He doesn't have as much burst or breakaway speed or play. Like, he's not that home run threat, but he's a hard runner, man. And he's one of those like guys that everybody on the team loves, and he loves everybody on the team. He's always celebrating, and he's always hyped up, and Aaron Rodgers has talked about it, and I think everybody on the team really just loves how Jamal Williams goes about his carries himself as a member of the Packers. And that is what this team needs to do more of. They need to run the ball more, because there were so many times that they had these big plays. I want to say the Robert Tonyan play, even the Mercedes Lewis play, and the Lazard play, all came off play action, if I'm remembering correctly. And I feel like that is the key to this team's success moving forward, is running the ball. They got two really good running backs, man. Like, as a tandem, I believe they're really good. And they themselves have a special connection. They talk about how they're really close friends, how they really push each other. And I feel like, look, 90 yards and 17 yards apiece, bro, for both of them. I personally would love to see Aaron Jones have, like I said, 20, 22, 25 touches. Williams have 10, 15 touches. But they ran the ball more than they passed the ball yesterday, 37 to 29. Okay, that's balance. And honestly, it's a little bit skewed to the running game, which I think this team moving forward, that's where they need to focus, and that's what the offense needs to be centered around. Now, granted, Hakeem Nicks was out last night for the Bears. He's a very physical player in the middle of that defense. He's a run stopper. He also, gets after the quarterback and creates pressure, similar to like Kenny Clark. So I feel like that skewed it a little bit, but I think the Packers still would have had a pretty good day rushing the ball, how they was moving the pocket last night, man. Okay, not finally, but where they need to improve, again, petting. I've talked about this. Fans have talked about this. We have all had enough of it. I'm not sure when it's going to change or how much it can actually improve, but we still have too much soft coverage on long, third and short, and they also have these like two-man fronts, and the run defense, man. Like, the run defense. I'm gonna keep pounding on that topic the same way teams keep pounding the rock up the middle on y'all, because it has to get better, man. And I'm hoping and praying, if I just keep talking about it and manifesting it and actually talking about it, maybe improving instead of how much it sucks, maybe it will actually get better. A lot of people say I'm negative on Twitter. That's why I just made toxicity refined as my my tagline really on Twitter, but it's like ultimately, I'm just critical, man. And ultimately, I want so much. I want this team to do so well, and I feel like they could and they should be a top 10, fuck it, a top 5 offense and defense, bro. I really feel like they have the players to be that dominant, and when they don't, it really lets me down, man. It really lets me down, man. I be salty. I be salty, bro. I be salty like Lowry's. Honestly, I do. And it's not to be negative, but I do realize as fans, we gotta be a little more pessimistic. I would never, first of all, I would never do nothing like boo a team. I would never boo my team, but I will be vocal about my frustrations with my team. But at the same time, okay, I'm gonna try to be a little more positive, okay? Even with as I'm being truthful and honest and say, look, man, they can do it, okay? Finally, last night, we saw more Rashawn Gary over Preston Smith, and Gary was getting pressure. He was affecting the passer, and a couple of those interceptions I want to say happened as a result of some of the pressure that he was able to get. Now, Preston, he showed up last night, and I think ultimately maybe he been listening to some of the chatter on Twitter, or maybe, Mike Pettin got in his ear, or maybe somebody pulled him aside and said, look, nigga, look, nigga, you got to do better, bruh. And, maybe he's turning the corner, but Gary is a baller. A lot of fans, myself included, was not high on the Gary pick last year. I thought it was kind of like they could have went in another direction, but I give it to the Packers. Okay, Gary, like he's starting to show flashes on a more and he started to show flashes like last year towards the end and then the beginning of this year, and now those flashes are becoming like beams. It was like a flicker, and now it's like. But we need him to like, whoo, just turn it on, turn the high beams on, and just blind the league with his talent, and his motor, and his physicality. And I feel like that's coming, man. I really do, because he's been getting more playtime. Come on, Martin got more playtime, even though he got a little hurt, and he's kind of now has some injury bugs that have kind of been nagging at him since the beginning of, really since college, honestly. But I would like to see him get more time because Christian Kersey, I'm sorry, Mr. Kersey, but you were not as advertised, bro. We were told that you were supposed to be a more athletic, dynamic, playmaking middle linebacker and an upgrade over Blake Martinez, but I'm sorry, Blake Martinez was twice as good as you, dog. Yeah, maybe he wasn't as athletic, but he was smarter. It seemed like he knew what it would be, and because he knew what it would be, he was always there. Even if it wasn't exactly as fast as we would like for him to be there, he was still there, and he led the league in tackles, bro. Like every fucking year he was in the NFL, he was like number 1 or 2 or tied for tackles, and he's still leading the league in tackles this year. He's up there again for the Giants. So I want to issue a personal apology to you, Mr. Martinez. I'm sorry, and actually, I'm sorry that the fans really shitted on you. I never thought he was that bad. I felt like he was a solid secondary piece to a guy that was the star. Like if you want Blake Martinez to be your star, your stud middle linebacker, it's not going to happen. He didn't have the skill set for that. But if you have a stud star middle linebacker next to Blake Martinez, now you have the makings for a top 5, top 3 defensive front 7. So, yeah, okay, we still rocking. So but he's gone now. I don't even know if the Packers offered him a contract extension. I feel like maybe he would have taken a little bit of the hometown discount because it was a team that drafted and developed him. But ultimately, he's more than serviceable. He's like a B- player in this league, like a Pro Bowl kind of caliber guy. They probably just, I don't know. I just think Pettin, he's really bad at his job. Okay, and the very last W for the day is why did they ultimately win or lose? Last night they won, and I'm going to say ultimately they won the game because the defense made plays. Okay? That's ultimately why they won. But a lot of things go into it. Like I said, Rodgers was on last night. He was efficient, 4 touchdowns, over 200 yards, barely over 200 yards, but no turnovers. They ran the ball really well. 187 yards rushing. That's what you love to see it. That's what I like to see more of. And I really feel like the Bears just aren't really a good team either. They're not a good team. They're not well coached. They have poor management. They have a really good defense, lots of good pieces, but ultimately, you know, they have deficiency at quarterback. They haven't developed Trubisky, who I think he's not as bad as he looks. You know, he's got some skills. He came out really early. He was very raw, so he needs to really have been developed, and Nagy just ain't that guy. So the Bears, even though they have a great defensive unit, and I mean, I got to give credit where credit is due, man. The Packers, they put up 34 points on a really tough defense. Granted, they were missing one of their better players and one of the better players in the league, to be honest with you. But they still put 34 up in their ass, and then they scored another touchdown on special teams. So I mean, off defense. So I didn't expect that. You know, I didn't expect them. I really thought this game was going to be more hard, more contested from the Bears. I thought maybe it'd be like a 17-24 kind of game. But, you know, 24-21, I thought the Packers should win. I thought they would win, especially in Lambeau. Now, in Chicago, might be a different deal. They might come out with a little more, you know, chutzpah, a little more energy. They might be a little more turned up in Chicago, or maybe they're just broken at this point in the season. Maybe they're just like, fuck it. We started out, you know, winning 5 games, and now we done lost 5 in a row. So maybe they're just like, fuck it. Maybe their spirits are just crushed. So that's the 5 W's, man. We about to move into the next segment of the show on a Victory Monday, the weekly wrap up. What's packing? Show. Weekly wrap up. This is the weekly wrap up episode. Every day after the game, I do the weekly wrap up. So that's why that's what this is. This is the weekly wrap up. So the next segment is the blame game, and I kind of touched on it here and there. The blame game kind of sounds more like a negative connotation, I feel like, for when teams lose. So because they won, I'm gonna call it just desserts. All right, who really, you know, how we gonna slice up this pie? And I start out with 100%, then I break down depending on where I feel like it should go. And usually, I kind of like after the loss to Indianapolis, I did 50%, then I did 25, 20, 20, and then 55, 5, something like that. But today, I'm gonna honestly just give you a nice. I'm gonna just cut that bitch right down the middle. I'm gonna just cut it right down the middle. 50% to the offense. All right, let me put this shit away. That's how you know I'm a real anime nerd, bro. But yeah, man, I'm gonna say 50% to the offense, 50% to the defense. This was a really all-around good team victory. Offense didn't turn the ball over. Like I said, they ran the ball really well. Rodgers was on. He spread the ball around to a bunch of different people. And they didn't just score points in the first half or the second half. I feel like they scored points every quarter, like low key. Let's see, touchdown in the first quarter. They had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Then they had what? Touchdown in the second quarter. They had a touchdown in the third quarter. 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. And, okay, no touchdown in the fourth quarter. But the game was really, out of hand at that point. They were up 41-20 some shit. So, 41-17, really. Then they let them score again at the end. But Kevin King dropped the interception in the end zone, which would have allowed Green Bay to have their 4th turnover of the day and prevent the last touchdown. They would have won the game 41-17, but Kevin King dropped the interception like 1 or 2 plays later. They scored the last touchdown of the game. So, but aside from that, man, defense, they got 3 turnovers, man. So I can't really bitch or complain about that. And, they missed some tackles. Yeah, Pettin had some stupid-ass calls that allowed them to get some big runs up the middle. But ultimately, I feel like the defense did their job, man. If the defense can play like this, get turnovers, get pressure, I would like to see them turn some of that pressure into sacks on a more consistent basis. But if the pressure can turn into turnovers, okay, or they just getting these turnovers and they get these stops, the whole team, the field goals instead of touchdowns, which they did actually do against Indianapolis to their credit. Now, people were shitting on them saying you had a 14-point lead, you can't just have a team score 17 points on you. But I say, like, damn, they held them to more field goals than touchdowns, and I really put more of last week's game on the offense. But this is the new week. They won. We on the we literally on to who we on to? We on to Detroit. I want to say. I think they play Detroit next. They're Detroit. No, Philly. We on to Philadelphia, bro. We on to Philadelphia. So fuck that. I'm not gonna go back. So yeah, 50-50, man. I really love this game plan from this team. This is what I want them to do week in and week out. I want them to run the ball, okay, and I want them to set up the play action off the run and mix in some slants. You know what I'm saying? Some little. I like the dink and dunk, man. I like the efficient dink and dunk, especially if you have a quarterback with a strong arm and a player like Devontae Adams who runs really crisp routes and can get open in man coverage and you can move around and put him in the slot and you can put him in different places and also scheme him open as well as rely on him on his natural ability to get open. And a guy like Aaron Rodgers who's so accurate, has such a good arm. I like the dink and dunk approach mixed, coupled with the heavy run game focus, which sets up the maybe 6 or 7 big plays off play action that you can take a game. And then if you got the short passing game working and you got the running game working, teams are going to be playing up. And so that play action is going to be wide the fuck open. And when you got Adams, Lazard, and MVS, who's a speed demon, and now they just picked up Tavon Austin, pride of Baltimore, Maryland, okay? Coming in now, he's going to be probably a kick return guy, special teams dude, but I would imagine they have to be looking at putting them, on some of them little jet sweeps and some go routes and some bubble screens and some shit like that. But it's like, you have those three, and then you have Tunyon and Sternberger, like they can stretch the field. Like, to me, that's the formula for success for this team, bro. Run the ball, short to intermediate routes, these little 3-yard to 10-yard routes. A lot of that. Then you mix in the play action 6 or 7 times a game, and if you hit on, if you take 7 of those and you hit on 5 of them for big plays that, get you chunks of yardage or turn into touchdowns, 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, to me, that is a real good recipe for success, man. So that's my just desserts. We did the 5 W's. Now for the final segment of the day. I was on Twitter all day yesterday. I was on Twitter all this morning. I was in heated debates. I was in heated discussions. I like to stir the pot, okay? I like to stir the pot. I like to set fires, okay? I like to spread, I like to be, I'm a contrarian, to be honest with you. I like to debate. Now, I'm not just saying this shit just to say it. I'm not a devil's advocate, but I do often find myself kind of on the opposite side, on the contrary spectrum of the debates or the arguments, or like, I don't really just go with the rest of the people, the sheep, the herd. I have my own mentality, my own thoughts, my own philosophy. So I was going to call this at me because I definitely want people to at me. I want you to bring all the smoke, okay? I want all of the, debates and arguments. I feel like I can go toe-to-toe with anybody, you know what I'm saying, especially with my opinions. But instead, I'm going to call this segment Flag on the Play, and I got my flag right here because for this segment, I'm going to take a few topics that I ran across on Twitter, and I'm going to discuss them. Hold up, we about to die. The power running low. So for flag on the play, I'm gonna take a couple topics that I feel like may be different or come up in different arguments that I've had and little debates that I've had on Twitter since the weekend or since the last episode, the last show, and I'm gonna just weave them all into one thing. And this flag on the play for today is gonna be called unnecessary adoration. Okay, you know what they do? Flag on the play, flag. They throw the flag and they go unnecessary roughness, so and so, X amount of yards. Okay, this gonna be called unnecessary adoration. Man, Twitter, take a seat, all right? Because there's a couple things that happened this weekend, man. And before I say that, let me say this. Okay, this is in no means hate or anything like that, bro. I don't really hate on people. Okay, like I don't believe in hating on people just to be hating on people, man. But I do believe that like certain things are interesting to me. I find certain topics or conversations interesting based on the context of society in the way that we what the fuck the the way hello. It's still saying I'm connected, but what the fuck? Um, wow, that was the worst possible time for that to happen. That was really the worst possible time for that to happen. I got a call in the middle of the goddamn show. Anyways, so over the weekend, let me just jump into the call. Let me just jump into the pen. Let me put my penalty, my flag back in my pocket. Okay, so over the weekend, as you may or may not heard, but there was a little bit of a history was made. Okay, this girl named Sarah Fuller, a national champion women's soccer player for Vanderbilt University, was called onto the Vanderbilt University football team, and she became the first woman to start and play and participate in a Power 5 conference game, like the highest level of college sports. I think some other girls have done it at like Division 2 or Division 3 or some shit like that, but she was the first girl, and she was the kicker to participate and play in the game for one of the five. I mean, the Pac-10, was it the Big 10, Pac-12, Big 12, ACC, and SEC, right? I think those are the five, right? Okay. Now the Pac-12, I think it used to be Pac-10, but I think now it's Pac-12, or maybe it used to be. They've been adding a bunch of shit together, but I think that's it. Pac-12, Big 10, Big 12, fucking ACC and SEC, right? So she played. Vanderbilt is in the SEC, and Vanderbilt. Now let me tell you, Vanderbilt is a terrible football program. Okay, they like 0-7, 0-6, or some shit. They might be 0-8 now. They hadn't won a game all year, but they had some people on the COVID list. And this was a big topic of discussion over the weekend. I was involved in many debates about feminism, women in sports, and just I guess people calling me a sexist hater. And you know what? Honestly, I will admit I am sexist. Okay, I'm a little bit sexist. I'll say that I'm a little bit sexist, and honestly, I don't think there's a problem with that. Because I think in this PC culture, a lot of the shit that I get called being a sexist for isn't really all that bad. Or it's not like, it's not like I'm not against women in anything. Sports, leadership, government, I'm not against any of that shit. Honestly, I congratulate women and their accomplishments, and I think they should be able to do whatever they want. But when it comes to sports, I mean, I'm sorry, like usually women's sports aren't as entertaining to watch for me than men's sports. Now there are some exceptions to the rule, and I don't even want to get into all of that. But the question that I had, and really the debate was for me, and there was a lot of different things. Like she only got the damn school is so terrible. Vanderbilt is so terrible that she didn't even get a chance to kick an extra point or a field goal. She only got to kick twice. To open the kickoff and then open the kick for the start the game and the kickoff at halftime. That's how horrible this team is. They couldn't move the ball close enough to field goal range or score a touchdown and give her a chance to kick. Now again, she won the championship. She's a goalkeeper. She's not even like the main like striker or like the main fucking athlete, the best, I guess, scorer of the ball for the team. Because I think they said she was a goalkeeper. So, but she has to be able to have foot skills and shit like that. So they called her onto the team. They brought her up. And the 2 kicks that she had, she didn't even boot the ball. I saw one highlight in the shit, like, this is how it all started, honestly. This is how it all started. I follow Pat McAfee. He's all on Twitter. He's always talking about for the brand and everything like that. So he reposted the kick of her for I think the halftime kick or the kickoff, and it was like she kicked it and the shit just sort of went up a little bit and it just came right back down and it rolled to the 35-yard line, and it was like, huh? And the caption that he had was like, didn't go out of bounds, didn't get a team a chance to return, did exactly what the coach, it was well executed, great kick. And I'm like, nigga, first of all, executing something doesn't necessarily make it great. Okay, like, and then people started saying like, I said the kick was trash. And I was just like, come on, man, like you set the bar kind of low to say that that was a great kick, because if that had been a dude, you wouldn't be calling it a great kick. And this is where it really got interesting to me, because I thought feminism was about equality, right? You know what I'm saying? Treating women the same, giving them the same opportunities. And to me, it's like, if you're going to put the girl on the team, then she should be held to the same standards as a man. It shouldn't matter whether she's a woman or not. If a dude had did it, would you have said that was a great kick? I doubt that very seriously. I highly doubt that, rather, I should say. So that was kind of the beginning of the argument for me. And then somebody clapped back at me and was like, it was a squib kick, you fucking idiot. Like, she did exactly what the coaches wanted her to do. And I was like, well, maybe that was a squib kick, okay? That wasn't the first thing that popped into my head, to be honest with you. I thought she just fucked up the kick. And I'm not even mad if she fucked up the kick, because she only had a chance to do it twice, okay? Like, she was nervous. Obviously, she was nervous. Like, nerves matter. It's a factor in performance, bro. Like, that's like a given. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why people, when they say you got ice water in your veins and they're clutch and they're calm, they're cool, collected, like, if you're nervous, yeah, you're gonna fuck up. Like, so it wasn't even really about that. It was kind of really just comical to me how like he was trying to trumpet it as like this great kick. I'm like, bro, like it wasn't great. Like, but give her another chance. Like, I'm sure she can do better than that. You know what I'm saying? She can probably do better than me. And that's honestly, I'm gonna try to see if I can do that, because that was one of the things. The very next comment then that rolled in from Pat McAfee was like later, like in the day, in the games, like he had a little telescope. He's like, I'm seeing a lot of kicking experts on here. Let me see the video. A lot of people voicing their opinions on, kicking and some shit. And, where's your evidence that you can do better? And I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense either. Because just because I'm not a 5-star cook doesn't mean I can't comment on someone else's cooking. You know what I'm saying? I can tell if someone it tastes like shit, or you fucking burn a steak, or your food is unseasoned. Like, come on. And a lot of people were commenting on Donald Trump being an incompetent president who never ran the country. So does that mean they shouldn't comment on how he's running the country? Like, that argument to me is a bunch of bullshit. And it's like, come on, like, don't even make that argument. Like, it's not even like, it's not. I can give my opinion on something even if I'm not a professional, especially when it's like sports or like something like this, or even like running the country. Like, maybe the only profession where it doesn't really work is like rocket science. You know what I'm saying? Or like being a fucking doctor. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna really comment on anything about like a profession where you have to go to school for like 20 years and like have a PhD and all that kind of shit. Like, anyone can go out there and fucking kick. Like, not literally anyone. I probably couldn't kick a field goal or punt and shit, but I can tell the kick is some shit. But anyways, then I got hit with a bunch of wave of people coming at me, like I said, calling me sexist. And then one dude was like, well, the coach probably told her to swim it because he didn't want her to have to worry about making a tackle or getting blocked or being, like actually physically a part of the play. And I'm like, well, shit, to me, that's even more reason why she should sit her ass down and she shouldn't have been out there in the first place. Because if you're going to be on the team, okay, and you're going to be out there and you want the equality and you want to have the opportunity as men, then you need to have the same opportunity to get your ass trucked or pancaked or fucked up. Because dudes out there, and it's happening to them every fucking game, every weekend, all levels of play. Fucking Pop Warner to the pros, bro. Niggas out there getting fucked up. Now, we all remember that one girl, right? The little white girl who was like running all over the place, juking boys, and her name was like Sam something. I wonder what she's up to now. But I was all for that. Like, I'm not against women in sports, bro. But again, that was Pop Warner. She ain't gonna be doing that shit in high school. That's for damn sure. Okay? She might not even do that shit in like 14 and up league. But that's a whole other thing. I'm not against women in sports. Like, I don't like when people try to push women's sports on me and make me and tell me I'm a sexist because I don't like it, because I feel like they're not as good at some sports as men, so that means I don't want to watch it and it's not as enjoyable. Like MMA, I'm all for women's MMA. Let them bitches beat each other up. Volleyball, tennis, I love tennis. Women's soccer, the women's national USA team is 10 times better than the men's team. Like, and they deserve to be paid more money. Women's sportscasters, I have no problem with that. I like a lot of them actually. Women coaches. At first, I was like, should a woman be like, if they can't really get in there and like be physical, like coaches can sometimes, like, will the players respect them? But it's like, or I feel like there's a little bit of like, okay, like some things are like about being an alpha male and just being like tough and whatever. Like, I don't know if the players respect them, but the players respect the coach. I don't care. Let the bitches coach. I don't care, honestly. Me personally, I don't care. Let them do whatever they want to do, but don't try to call me a sexist pig because I don't like it, or I'm going to be. If it's about equality, then I should be able to be just as hard on the woman as I would be the man. And I've seen lots of kickers, and some dudes like, so you want to see her get fucked up and get like hurt? I'm like, I mean, not really, but I'm saying, like, you wouldn't protect a man. I see kickers making tackles all the time. Or sometimes, guess what? Kickers get fucked up. One thing that really comes to mind is in the Pro Bowl when Sean Taylor destroyed this punter on a fake punt. And another time I remember is when Antonio Brown, like his rookie season, he like was running back a kick. He jumped over one dude and he fucking like came down and like Sparta kicked the kicker in the face and like stomped on him and kept running. So like, bruh, kickers and punters get fucked up sometimes. And if you're gonna have a girl out there, then you can't have your whole game plan be around like, let's protect her. Like, nah, she need to be out there, and if she want to be with the men, then she need to get maybe fucked up. So but I just wanted to speak on it because, and then to finally top it all off, apparently she gave a halftime speech where she was shitting all over the team. Like, man, y'all niggas y'all not cheering each other on. Y'all quiet as shit on the sideline. I just won a SEC championship for women's soccer, and we always cheer each other on, and we always do this, and we're always like, you know what I'm saying, like, have our spirits up. And Pat McAfee, interesting enough, ironically, he was all for her, shitty kicks and, pumping her up for that. But when it came to this story coming out today, he was like, whoa, I think she overstepped her bounds here. I don't think, and it wasn't because she was a woman, but he was just saying in general, special teams guys like kickers and punters and long snappers really shouldn't be the ones giving the halftime speeches because they're only involved in like, even though it's technically 1/3 of the game, their actual involvement in running and blocking and hitting and, scoring and shit is like very minuscule compared to other players on the team. And that I do agree with, but I also think that like somebody needed to say it. Even the coaches that said in the report that the coaches like, hey, thank you for saying that. I've been wanting to say that all year. So I was like, I congratulate her for that, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather give her a round of applause for just like having the fucking ovaries to call these dudes out and be like, look, man, y'all suck. Partially because your attitude and your fucking in your attitude sucks. And we all know that your attitude determines your attitude. So if you had a better attitude, maybe you guys would play a little better. Maybe you can win one game or fucking score a touchdown at least. So, that's my piece on the Sarah Fuller. And then they had the audacity to give her the co-special teams player award of the week. It's like she made 2 kicks and they were swim kicks. Like, come on. That is definitely unnecessary adoration, okay? Like, she didn't deserve to get any award for that performance, okay? Now, the other unnecessary adoration that I seen this weekend was, of course, about the Packers and whether this team is legit, whether this team is a suit for real, as some people like to say. Is Aaron Rodgers should Aaron Rodgers be the MVP front runner? And look how great this offense is. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need any more wide receivers. People need to shut the fuck up about wide receivers. And I'm like, bro, like, just because the Packers beat a bunch of 1 and something and 2 and something teams like the Lions and the Jaguars and the Niners, who are completely decimated, and they beat the Texans, who fired their head coach before the fucking halfway point of the season, and they beat Atlanta, who at the time was like 1-7, 1-5, and they did beat New Orleans, but again, it was like the 3rd game of the year, or the 4th game of the year, and New Orleans was missing Michael Thomas, and Drew Brees is old as shit, and the defense, all of those defenses, like, I feel like defense has gotten a lot better since the beginning of the season to now. Like, as a whole, defenses around the league have gotten better. And, like, I think they were missing some people on defense, too. So, it's like, bruh. Like, and they still only won by 7 points, did the Packers, bruh. And if the fucking Saints would have just ran the ball more with Alvin Kamara, I really honestly believe in my heart of hearts that they would have won that game. Because even without Michael Thomas, and no, Michael Thomas hasn't been the all-pro Michael Thomas that he was last year when he set the record for receptions in the season, but he also missed some games, and he's probably just getting back healthy. And it's like, just having that dude on the field changes the whole dynamic of your scheme on defense. You can't just focus on Kamara. You can't just say, we're going to do this. You have to respect Michael Thomas, even though people might want to shit on him as the slant master, or he only runs 1 route or 2 routes, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, the nigga caught 100 and like whatever 50, 60 balls or some crazy shit. Like, the nigga is good, bro. Like, you can't just fucking trip like accidentally and land on a all-time NFL record, especially not for something like receptions, bro. Like, come on, like, people trying to diminish this nigga and say he's not that good is ridiculous to me. So, like, if you don't have that guy, and I know the Packers didn't have Devontae Adams, but I'm not talking about the Packers' ability to score on offense. I'm talking about the Packers' ability on defense to hold the Saints to a score lesser than what the Packers scored. I feel like the Packers would have lost a high-scoring game. So you lose to the Saints, or you beat the Saints, and that's really the only team you beat that has a winning record today, okay? And then that's a playoff team, and you beat the Vikings in week 1, but then you lost to the Vikings, who at the time had a lot of injuries, and their rookie receiver, who now is one of the highest graded receivers in the NFL, was playing his first game, okay? And so, to me, those are the only 2 playoff teams that you beat, and because the Vikings are in the hunt, okay? But they're not even literally in the playoffs right now. They're on the bubble at 5-6, so they still have a losing record. So they've only beat 1 team with a winning record, bro. 1 team with a winning record that is above 500, and that's the Saints. And these fucking fans are breaking their arms to pat themselves on the back and to give these Packers unnecessary adoration on the season saying, well, they're 8-3 and they're 3 games up in the division and they're the number 3 seed or the number 2 seed, right? They're the number 2 seed behind the Saints. But you got your ass waxed by Tampa Bay, who have since been waxed twice by the Saints, okay? You lost to the Colts. Now, I'll give you credit for the loss to the Colts because it was a tight game. And that's the kind of game, if you're going to lose, that's how I want to see you lose. I want to see you lose close, and I want to see it come down to one play that makes or breaks the team. But at the same token, I feel like that was a horrible loss to the Colts because you jump up early, you score 28 points in the first half, you're up 14, and then you score only 3 points in the whole second half of the game. That's fucking horrible. And they're telling me how great this offense is and Rodgers is the MVP candidate and they don't need any more weapons. Well, it looks like they needed weapons against the Colts. But again, we're moving on, okay? And then you lose to the fucking... Yeah, those are your 3 losses. The Colts, the Vikings, and the Vikings at the time were like, come on, you can't lose to the Vikings at home, bruh. You have to win your division. This is not a really good division. So it's like, pump your fucking brakes on the Packers' adoration, okay? They're 8-3. Yes, they're going to make the playoffs. But no, they are not a contender. They are a playoff team that beats up on bad teams and loses games to good teams unless those good teams are injured. Period. So, please, like I said, flag on the play. Enough with the fucking unnecessary adoration. All right, look, man, it's your boy Godchild, first of his name. This has been What's Packing Weekly Wrap-Up, Week 12 edition. We gonna be coming at you strong. Pause. I'm gonna have another episode basically. Today is Monday. I'm gonna have another episode for y'all Wednesday, okay, after Tuesday with Aaron. And we're gonna find some more topics to discuss. As always, man, you can at me on Twitter, What's Packing WHATSPACKIN. Okay. Follow me on Twitch. As you are, we might be, I don't know where you might see this at, but if you're not following me right now, I'm on Twitch. I'm live streaming every week on Mondays, the weekly wrap up. I'm going to be doing a show on Wednesdays, and every game day, I'm live streaming play-by-play and reaction. I'm also on YouTube, What's Packing. I think we got the apostrophes in there. What's Packing Sports Show. You can find me on YouTube. I'm going to be having clips. And I want to start doing skits and other little things, you know. But, hey, man, one step at a time, taking my time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a lot of shit on my plate. Honestly, I do a lot of shit. So, look, man, I'm thankful. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, okay? But I already did a show since then. But look, man, the Packers right now, like I said, they're the number 2 seed. So we do have a lot to be hopeful for. But, I mean, they got a lot to prove. And they got to show me week 16 against Tennessee that they can show up and stop the run, because King Henry is coming into town and he is going to be giving out stiff arms and big plays and pain like Christmas came early, because that nigga be slaying and he ain't playing, but he is playing, but he don't be playing with niggas' emotions. He don't care if you got kids or parents or nothing. He will dog you. He will dog you. Okay, he will dog you. He will hit you with that stiffy, iffy, whiffy in a jiffy. Okay, look, man. Until next time, go pack, go. Peace.